Hi, I'm Haley.
Hi, I'm Stella.
And we're presenting about Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg, aka RBG, is an inspiring and smart person. RBG became the second female justice in the U.S. Supreme Court. RBG taught at Rutgers University Law School and after Columbia University. At Columbia, she became its first female tenured professor. She was director of the Women's Rights Project and of the American Civil Liberties Union during the 1970s, and faced discrimination and was selected to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia in 1980. RBG faced gender discrimination, and people were publicly disrespectful to Ruth Bader Ginsburg because of her taking the spots of men. As you can see, Ruth Bader Ginsburg taught many females and Jews that it doesn't matter who they are based on their gender and religion. She also taught people to not care what other people think, and she affected many by fighting for rights and being the first female Jew on the Supreme Court. She struggled with anti-Semitism and sexism but kept going, therefore inspiring many Jewish women to persevere.
Early life. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was born on March 15, 1933 at Beth Moses Hospital in Brooklyn, New York. Although her name is not actually Ruth, it's Joan Ruth Bader. She is Cecilia and Nathan Bader's second daughter, and they lived in the Flatbush neighborhood. Her father was a Jewish immigrant from Odessa, Ukraine. Her mom is also Jewish and born in New York. As school started, there were multiple students in her class who went by the name Joan. So her mother decided to call her by her middle name, Ruth, and that's where she got the name. Her family went to a conservative synagogue called East Midwood Jewish Center. Ruth wasn't allowed to have her bat mitzvah ceremony because of Orthodox restrictions from reading the Torah, and this bothered her. When she was 4, she went to a Jewish summer program at Lake Balfour near Minerva, New York. She graduated from high school at age 15, yet she could not continue in her own education because her family chose to send her brother to college instead. Ruth attended James Madison High School, whose law program later dedicated a courtroom in her honor. Cecilia struggled with cancer throughout Ruth's high school years and died the day before Ruth's high school graduation. RBG went to Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, and was a member of Alpha Upsilon Phi while at Cornell. She met Martin D. Ginsburg at age 17. She graduated from Cornell with a Bachelor of Arts degree in government on June 23, 1954. While at Cornell, Bader studied under Russian-American novelist Vladimir Nabokov, and she later identified Nabokov as a major influence on her development as a writer. She was a member of Phi Beta Kappa and the highest-ranking female student in her graduating class. RBG married Martin Ginsburg a month after her graduation from Cornell. Together they moved to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where Martin Ginsburg was stationed as a Reserve Officers Training Corps officer in the United States Army Reserve after his call-up to active duty at age 21. At age 21, Ruth Bader Ginsburg worked for the Social Security Administration office in Oklahoma, where she was demoted after becoming pregnant with her first child. She gave birth to her daughter in 1955. Fall 1956, RBG enrolled in Harvard Law School. She was one out of 9 females in a class with 500 men. She was not able to complete her 3rd year at Harvard, so she switched to Columbia Law School, where she became the first woman to be on 2 major law reviews. In 1959, she got her law degree at Columbia and tied for 1st place in her class. Then, after served as a Supreme Court justice until she died in September of 2020.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a Jewish hero when she fought for many important issues, including Jewish rights and women's rights. She inspires us by always speaking up about her opinions and fighting for justice. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is our Jewish hero because she inspired not only Jewish girls, but also women of all ages from many different religions And we chose Ruth Bader Ginsburg because she's an interesting person who had strong opinions and believed that anything was possible. She's an inspiration to many and helped many people.
I'm Alex, and my Jewish hero is Anne Frank. I chose her because when she was a young girl, she was in the Holocaust. She made me think about how my life is now, also a young Jewish girl. She is a hero because she was optimistic during hard times and a victim of something that shouldn't happen to anyone. She affected others because of her diary. We get to understand what it was like to be a young girl in the Holocaust. I would describe her as a brave, strong, and unselfish person. I think that because she survived 2 full years in one room hiding from people trying to kill her. Anne Frank was born on June 12, 1929 in Frankfurt, Germany. She died at age 16 at the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp in Germany. Her full name was Anneliese Marie Frank. Her parents were Otto and Edith Frank. She had one sister, Margot Frank. She is famous for keeping a diary about her experience in the Holocaust. In 1949, after she had died, her father published her diary in a book called Anne Frank's Tales from the Secret Annex. Millions of people have learned about the Holocaust from Anne Frank. 30 million copies of her diary have been sold, and it was translated into 70 languages. Anne Frank's diary was also made into a play, and the house where she and her family hid from the Nazis is a museum in the Netherlands.
Hi, I'm MARYN, and my Jewish hero is THEODOR HERZL. THEODOR HERZL was born on May 2, 1860 in Budapest, Hungary. He was raised in a Jewish family. THEODOR was a very important person. I picked this hero because he inspires me to work hard and reach for my goals. He is a hero because he formed a Zionist organization and helped the Jews get to Palestine. THEODOR made a positive effect on the Jewish people. He is very brave, hardworking, caring, and empathetic. THEODOR acted like this because he cared about the Jews. He was willing to do whatever it took to save the Jews and get them to safety in Palestine. It changed his life to get all the Jews to Palestine. It took a lot of effort, but he did it anyway. THEODOR took many risks. Non-Jewish people did not like him and wanted to kill him for his actions. He risked his life to help the Jews. Even though he died at a young age of 44, he was still able to help the world.
I'm Andrew, and my partner's name is Gabe, and we did Jonathan or Yoni Netanyahu. Our Jewish hero is Jonathan Netanyahu. Jonathan Netanyahu was an Israeli Defense Forces officer who saved a little over 100 lives during Operation Entebbe by sacrificing his own. He served in the Six-Day War and earned the Medal of Distinguished Service for his performance in the Yom Kippur War. He served in the Six-Day War and earned the Medal of Distinguished Service for his performance in the Yom Kippur War. I chose him because he led by example by never asking his men to do anything he wouldn't be willing to do himself. Adjectives I would describe him are brave, decisive, and patriotic. For example, he led the elite commando unit Sarit Matkal during Operation Entebbe, a plan to rescue hostages held in Entebbe Airport in Uganda by extremely dangerous terrorists. The mission was successful, but not without a sacrifice. Netanyahu was fatally injured and during the process and died soon after. He was an amazing leader who was brave and willing to do one of the greatest and should be remembered as one of the greatest Jewish heroes.
My name is Adam Getler, and my Jewish hero is Ilan Ramon. Ilan Ramon was one of the best Israeli fighter pilots. He was born June 20th, 1954 in Ramat Gan, Israel. I chose Ilan as my Jewish hero because he was very brave and courageous when fighting for Israel's Air Force. Ilan had thousands and thousands of hours in Israel's Air Force. Ilan has done many things to be considered a hero. Some things he's done are going on some of Israel's GOLDA's missions. Ilan has had a massive effect on the world. For example, in 1981, he was the youngest pilot to take place in Operation Ogre, Israel's strike against Iraq's unfinished Ozark nuclear reactor. The facility was destroyed, killing 10 Iraqi soldiers. He also participated in the 1982 Lebanon War. Ramon was selected as a payload specialist in 1997 for NASA and began his training in 1998 at Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. Ilan, Israel's first and only astronaut, was killed in the 2003 Columbia Space Shuttle. Ilan can be described as brave, courageous, caring, and kind.
Hi, my name is James, and my Jewish hero is Albert Einstein. I chose him because he was my grandma's hero too, and Albert Einstein assisted Zionist causes, like helping found the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and being asked to be the president of Israel. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in Germany to an Ashkenazi family. After going to school in Munich for 3 years, at the age of 8, he transferred to the Luitpold Gymnasium, now known as the Albert Einstein Gymnasium, where he received advanced education in elementary and middle school until he moved out of the German Empire at age 15. Then, in search of business, the family moved first to Milan, then to Pavia. Albert Einstein excelled in math from a young age. He taught himself geometry and algebra at the age of 12, and by the age of 14, he also learned calculus. Later in his career, in 1921, Chaim Weizmann asked Albert to help raise funds for the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Then, in 1925, the university opened. He also suggested that there should be an Institute of Agriculture to help settle the new ground which the Jews had moved in on. Lastly, he was offered to be the president of Israel, which he declined, but he said, "I'm deeply moved," which shows that he does care about Israel, the land of Israel. In the end, Albert Einstein was a smart creator who cared about the land of Israel, inspiring people to never give up.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, my name is Noah, and my Jewish hero is Golda Meir. I chose Golda Meir as my Jewish hero because she was a feminist that inspired many people around the world while serving her country, even though she was reluctant at first. Golda was an activist who showed the world that she could rise up to any challenge thrown at her by becoming the first female and the fourth Prime Minister of Israel. Golda Meir was born on May 3, 1898, to a Jewish family in downtown of Kiev, Ukraine. At only the age of 8, her family moved to the United States, and young Golda was raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Growing up, she attended 4th Street Grade School, now known as Golda Meir School, joined the Zionist youth movement, and married Morris Meyerson. Together, they moved to Palestine in 1921 and joined Kibbutz Merkava. The couple left the kibbutz in 1924 and moved to Jerusalem, where Golda became an official of the Histadrut and was a part of running the trade union, welfare programs, and Zionist labor. She changed her name from Meyerson to MEIR in 1956. In March of 1969, Golda was appointed the Prime Minister Levi Eshkol's successor and was known as the fourth Prime Minister of Israel, as well as the only female to hold the position in any Middle East country. Described as the Iron Lady of Israeli politics, she showed a great amount of leadership during the Yom Kippur War of 1973. After an unsuccessful secret meeting with King Abdullah from Jordan in public anger, Golda resigned from office the following year. In 1975, MEIR published her autobiography, My Life, and on December 8, 1978, she died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 80. She was buried on Mount Herzl in Jerusalem and is still recognized as one of the most powerful women in history.
3, 2.
My name is Kennedy, and my hero is Henry Jacobs. I chose Henry because it's my grandfather. Not only that, I think his story is important, and his story is important. Henry Jacobs was a key part in his family surviving the Holocaust. When his family was hiding in the ghettos, in the middle of the ghetto, the Germans turned off the water supply, so every night he snuck into the sewers and turned the water back on for his family. And then when they were in forced labor camps, he bribed the guards to let him go out and find gems and whatnot, so he could send them to the rest of his family in another section. Now he's living happily with his wife, Gloria Jacobs, who's a hero in her own right. She single-handedly got her entire family across the border into safety.